Good afternoon to everyone. I am Sujan Saha, System Admin of BLA Webinar Series. I request to Dr. Arun Kumar Chakraborty, Librarian, Post Institute of Kolkata, former Director General of RRLF and National Library of India. Thank you, sir. Please start today's session.
Namaskar. Good afternoon. We are grief-stricken due to sad demise of our beloved president of Bengal Association, Sadhya Bimal Chandra Chattopadhyay. Sir, now we will pay tribute to him and then we'll start the program. Hello. না না হ্যাঁ বলা আছে তো হ্যাঁ এখন ক্লিয়ার আসছে হ্যাঁ একটু তবু সাউন্ড করছে ঠিক আছে
বলুন। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, বলুন। হুম।
Sorry for the interruption.
না, না, শুরু করবেন না।
Sorry for the interruption. Again, we are starting the slideshow because some people told that the voice is not clear. So the technical team just set it up. Let me see that what is working or not. So start. It is okay. Good afternoon. Again, we are just there was some problem in the technical. There was some technical area, so now I think it's solved. So now we are trying to solve the problems. So now we are just giving paying tribute to our beloved President, Bengal Association.
Second slide.
What slide today? Sure. Oh, okay. So now we are going to start with the program. So my respected teachers, seniors, friends, and students. Today we all are here for the Bengal Association webinar series to discuss with you all of research ethics. Only constant, no idea who are the target audience, that is a problem. So it is heartening to note that our Bengal Association is working relentlessly for the LIS profession since 1925. It has been always a pleasure to be part of the Bengal Association. So any program, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all executive committee members of the Bengal Association, and special thanks to our beloved president was expired, and then Professor Krishnapada Mojumdar, who is the present secretary of the Bengal Association, Dr. Joydeep Chandra, who is the key person coordinator for this kind of program, and then Sujan Shaha, and all the executive members for this organizing this webinar series during this pandemic distress period. Since the situation is very bad, so the people are doing, so they are trying too hard to do something. So I also pay my tribute to our first president of Bengal Association, Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, whose birthday we celebrated generally in this Vaishak month. These webinars are really giving us boost and utilize our time to learn, share new things. And it is true, this platform has many advantages and also, in fact, they're great for the younger generation. Somehow, we all, older generation, also enjoying this program, but we are very much missing our this chai ke adda. During the seminar, we always do that, and all of discussions goes in this during this period only. So this platform itself is new to us, so there may be a lot of pictures. So this is a real sense of appropriate use of our time, thanks to BLA technical team and our team. So my topic will have two parts. In the first part, I will try to discuss on the research process and the slant to the biological sciences. And before actually the plagiarism starts in the later stage. Before there are different stages of the research, and after the research, this output is a publication, and then comes the plagiarism. So plagiarism I will take it in the next of my program. So now this. So second. What is research? So we should come into what is research. I know that everyone is knowing research because there are a lot of people are doing research, and the research in the country in every field their research is going on. So that research is a systematic inquiry to describe, explain, and predict and control the observed phenomena. So research involves inductive and deductive methods, is available by Bubble 1998. Inductive method analyze the observation phenomena and identify the general principles, structures or processes underlying the situation, underlying the observations, and the purpose of the different one is to develop or explanations and the order to test the validity of the appropriateness. So research consists of asking a questions that nobody has asked before, and then doing the necessary work to find out the answer. Then communicating the knowledge you have acquired for the larger audience. Though scientific definition, there are a lot of scientific definitions of research: performing a methodical studying, that should be the scientific process in order to provide hypothesis or answer the specific questions. Finding distinctive answer is the critical or goal of any experimental process. So research must be systematic and follow a series of steps and rigid standard protocol. So the most important is the rigid protocol means that in the protocol itself we do not have our ethics and all, so there will be a problem. So these are the process. So every process, how we go for the integrity and research process. That is why I am coming up with this research. What is research? Because these are the steps how we control. Performing this any type of real research, whether scientific or economic or historical, requires some kind of interpretation and options from the researchers. So this option is underlying the principle or question that establishes the nature and type of the experiment. The scientific definition of research generally states that variable must be manipulated, although case studies and purely observational science do not always comply with this program, with this norm. So there are scientific methods. So there is a controlled method, there is a systematic method, and then valid and verifiable method. So now I come to this, what is research ethics? So that means if we know that research, what is we have to do for the research, then we come for this research ethics. So research ethics are always of understanding and examining of the moral life or right and wrong or human conduct. So then I'll come on this. So ethics are this means understanding and examining of moral life or right and wrong of a human conduct. So in the research process, we have understood in the last slides that this is the process. So where our conduct is it wrong or right, we have to decide. Then what is the bioethics? Bioethics is always a way of understanding and examining the moral aspect of biomedical research and practice. So why I think that is biometrics? First of all, that I have been working in this physical and biological sciences library since long time, last 25 years. And apart from this is the period of the pandemic period, and everybody is thinking of the bioethics because of the pandemic situation, how the virus, antivirus or drugs can be used, who can use it, how this has come. So these kind of things comes in the bioethics. So that is why I just gave a slant to the bioethics. So fundamental principles of human research ethics respect the person. First of all, this research process is first very important is that where it comes the ethics or why the plagiarism comes and all, because only that respect for person. That means the person who has done his contribution, original contribution, we should respect that person, and if we do this respect that person, then it is always we know that it is a research ethics comes. See, because why we do these things, I come later, but that is the first and foremost of this, respect the person is the human ethical issues. Then beneficiaries, then justice, then who are the justice. Then respect for persons is a beneficent, justice, beneficent and justice. So respect for person, autonomy, self-determination. Vulnerable people or group needing special protection. Who might this be? Autonomy of self-determination, valuable people, vulnerable people or groups needing special protection. So those with limited education, who are the persons who need special protections? Those with limited education, the poor, those without easy access to health services, women, people in prison, sex workers, gay or lesbian people, informed consent. So we have to respect everybody because we are doing research on them. If we are doing research on any of the persons, so that person should be respected, and then only our research process or research idea will be culminated in a proper way. So if we do not doing research on particular these of the groups in the social sciences, and if we find that we are not able to respect those people, then our research will have a different malified information or the malinformation or not the right information or the right audience. So that's what we need to give a respect to the person. Whatever we do in research, the people should do the respect to that particular area. The beneficiaries. Who are the beneficiaries? Physical, mental and social well-being. So it has to be physical well-being. Risk reduced to a minimum, because if we are doing research on animal or physiology or human being, so that particular when a live research we are doing, then we have to think about that, how we can minimize the risk. So that is the most important. Then protection of the participants is the most important responsibility of the research. Because see, this even pandemic, this coronavirus, that has to be benefited first to the animal and then the human being. So when we are human being, so we have to be made the responsibility of the research. See, some people are telling that those who have already attracted of this, then the fuel. What is the fuel? Plasma. There is a plasma therapy. So this plasma therapy has to be done by plasma therapy, then that means the somebody has to willing to give it this. So that is the responsibility of the researcher to have to convince that person, yes, this research is not going to affect him or her. Until and unless we give a confidence to that person will not willing to do that particular research work. So this is the very important of the research work. Then justice, equal distribution of the risk and benefits. So when we decide a risk, then there is a risk and benefit. Then equivalent requirement of research participants. So who are the research stakeholders? The equitable participants of these participants. There is special protection for the vulnerable groups. So those who are, we are going to target a particular audience, so those patients, we have to give them special protection of any of the vulnerable groups. Then what is the ethical obligation? Then comes ethical obligation. And ethical obligation is required action that must be all things considered. Obligation may be strong or weak or vary from one person to another. So what is an ethical dilemma? So because when there is ethical, the people may think that this is right, that is wrong. So that's comes the ethical dilemma. And then the researcher, they have to finalize decide that which is ethical correct or not. That means there is, again you have to think of that, respect that person. Because ethical dilemma you have to solve according to respecting the person. So when two or more obligations require mutually exclusive actions, both are same actions, then when some evidence suggests that an act is right, but other evidence suggests that is wrong. So how this researcher has to decide? So that means you need a fundamental data for this. So how are ethical dilemmas are resolved? Consider whether obligations are being violated. So then we have to think that what are the doing when we are doing a research, so whatever the research we have an obligation, and this obligation whatever we are doing, whether really we are violating or not. Then examine all viewpoints carefully, critically and openly. So respect legitimate diversity. The research issues important to ethics. Genuine uncertainty about the effectiveness of what is being researched or equipoise. The research is being confused with care, therapeutic misconception. So the issue is important to ethics continue. Necessary to understand connection with other issues, informed consent. So that's you have got the what about the consent, whether you are being informed or not. Then standards of care. What the care you are taking, there should be a standard protocol. See, if you are taking a particular data of kind of collecting data, we are collecting data of different things. So it has to be there be standard care of collecting data. Then partnership. When the research is always a partnership. So this partnership is more important. Then informed consent. What is the challenges? Cross-cultural variability in decision making. So we have a cross-cultural variability. What kind of decision we have to take? Those kind of decision, how we fail, that's kind of things. Understanding and exposure to do the scientific research model. So we have to understand the exposure to scientific research model, because different science, if it research, if it is the physical sciences research, if it is the biological sciences research, if it is the chemical sciences research, everybody has got a different model of doing particular research. So which model is going to be, even the historical research or theoretical based of research or library science research, any kind of research, we have a different kind of research model. And what model will fit in what kind of research, that is the most key area of that particular research. So belief about the disease casualties. So we have to understand that what if it is a disease, how much casualty, what should be given. Then language and literacy level. So if we have to do the research, so you have to know that what are the language and then the literacy level of the particular is. Then undue inductment. Then social harms, gender or HIV status related, etc. Then we have to go for the standard of care. Prevailing standard of minimum upgrading of services essential to conducting research. So we have to be able to state the minimum upgrading of services essential to conducting this research. This goal, whatever kind of goal we are going to do. Implement reasonable overall improvement through progressively catching up. Benefit of all research participants, local healthcare system, community, ongoing and further research, avoid two-tier systems. So this benefit of all research participants means there are not, when we are doing a research or scientific research, research is not that only leading to the thesis or a paper. So there are different research institutes, they are coming up with research. Through research there are drug discovered, through the research there are chemical discovered, through the research, all this pioneering work or new ideas, everything generated through the research. So it is not only the research does not mean only the some of our idea research means that is leading to a Ph.D. degree or a degree to the master degree or some kind of degree or kind of a publication of a paper. It's not. That's what is real sense of research and scientific research or historical research, what output the society should get. That is the most important of this any kind of research. So that is why we have to take the very much standard care, how this goal, implement reasonable over improvements through progressive and catching up, then benefit all research participants. Then partnership in research. Say partnership research is an important aspect in conducting research, because in a research there are different collaborative research. there are international collaboration, there are funding agencies for the research, say Department of Science and Technology, CSIR, then DBT, DSIR, ICMR, all of these people are different funding agencies, apart from this National Science Foundation and other research funding. So all over the world, there are research funding, huge number of research funding. So when see the research culminative thesis, it is a particular, this is the starting of the research. Because see, you will find that all research scholars will go for the postdoctoral fellowship in the foreign countries. So why they go for the postdoctoral fellowship? Because whatever the research, whatever the knowledge they acquire or gain, that's how they should be able to build the partnership with that person. So how this partner, they pay for that, because they are being selected for the fellowship of those kind of things, because they want to develop something new, a new idea than this. So that's not only the paper or publication. So that is why I'm telling the research is the partnership and ethics comes why that comes. So that means exact every process, it has to be totally sacrosanct. So that is why partnership is very important for any kind of research. So who is our collaborators? The next slide is the responsibility of the conduct research. So when we are doing research, everybody has got a responsibility. So who are the responsibility taking? So shared responsibility in research process. So in any research process, there is a shared responsibility, because well-designed research, adequately reviewed, ethically conducted, properly disseminated. Even if we do a research or a thesis, then this also, all this terms comes, because there is a committee of research committee, and the research committee decides whether that person really this research process or not. Then he has to submit a paper, submitted 1,000 word, 5,000 word. So that is different steps. So this, when the research comes of this scientific research or this kind of thing, it's a well-designed research. How much it is well-designed? Then adequately reviewed whether this research process is, if it is not adequately reviewed, then you may not know that it may be duplication of the work. So that means if the adequately review is necessary, because if the review is taken place properly and proper places, then the duplication of the work will be lost. Because the duplication of any research process, the entire whole world, whoever pays for that, is huge money is involved in. So if it is not society, if it is not benefited out of this, then the research is not good. So that is why adequately reviewed, then ethically conducted. Then comes ethical conduct. That means whatever we do it, that if it is not ethically conducted, then the research is not possible. So that ethics comes here. Then properly disseminated. Then once ethics comes, then we know whether it is properly disseminated. Everybody should be aware of that particular knowledge, because it should be a public domain. So research output should be always in a public domain. So there is a community, CAB, site staff, executive committee, IRB, International Research Board. So these are the people who are the three partners of research who decides that there is a site staff, there is a community, the executive committee. These people, there is a circle, and then they decide, yes, this topic can be done in a research process. So partners' responsibility is a community, staff site, and ethical committee. So these are the partners' responsibilities. Then site staff responsibility. What is the site staff? Means when we are doing a research or in a research laboratory or research, there are in the scientific discipline, there are a lot of people are helping them. There are a lot of technical staffs are there. The technical people are there. So they help this one. So scientific correctness. So this protection of human participation. Then appropriate informed consent. That means this consent will say, if you are taking of this thing, taking anything idea of that should be informed everybody. Yes, I am using of this idea of doing this, your project, your these materials I am using. So appropriate information. So that comes to ethical. Side stuff is ethical of that informed consent. Then confidential protection. That means if somebody is giving you some information and all, if he says it is a confidential information, you have to leave the confidentiality. Because when the research process, when you are having new ideas generating and all, so this lab staff, if they leak somebody else this information, and then if somebody publishes of these drugs or preparing a drug of this, so then your credibility goes. So that means entire staff who are doing that particular research team, they have to be confidentiality protection, they have to maintain. Then researcher responsibility. What is the researcher responsibility? The conduct research according to protocol. See, I first in my slide in the research, what is research? There is a protocol. So that means why I told you this, conduct research, anything according to protocol. If any of the research, there is a standard protocol is there. If we are not maintaining the standard protocol, the research process is really, you know, the research process is difficulty of these things. So, in the compliance with ethical committee requirements. So, what the researcher has to do, the first of all, he has to follow all the protocols of the research. Without, according to the protocol, if he is doing that means any protocol if he using, he has to mention that protocol. You will find that the methods and protocols, there are a lot of books, journals are available for each of the scientific things of the protocol or this one. So you will get into all these protocols. They have to use this, all this. Even they use any of the chemical, that chemical use protocols are also there. Even they are using any reagent, there is a protocol for particular reagent using of that particular reagent. So those protocols is already given in a, there is a document to prove, and according to that protocol, they have to use it. So then compliance with ethical committee requirement. Then if it goes to the ethical committee and if ethical committee gives any of kind of feedback of that particular person, so that he has to give the compliance. So he should know that yes, these are the ethical committee's comments and he should comply with this. So report adverse experiences, protocol variation and participants' complaints. So these kind of things we should report adverse experiences. So if it is you find that yes, ethical committee is giving and you have a different views of this, plus to them, yes, you give them ideas. Not that's always the ethical committee because you have an idea. So you might, by giving it to the ethical committee, there is some protocol may be missing or in a communication gap. So that communication gap has to be filled. And then the violations and participant complaints. Then post-study, this is long-term interest of the participants. First of all, there's any such a responsibility. Whatever we do, it should be a long-term process of interest of the participants, for who is the target audience, for whom this research has been done. So that means society. Because any research output is a product of the society's taxpayers' money. So any kind of research, when it is a taxpayers' money, so that means it is interest to the participant. Any taxpayers have a demand or any tax, the researcher has a responsibility to reach the taxpayer money to the participants. So he has he has rights to ask the questions. Then researchers' human quality. That means now once this protocol here means, then first of all, if we are thinking of human of this, integrity. Then in the beginning itself I am telling the respect, so integrity, respect, compassion, professionalism, courtesy, sensitivity. So integrity means that it's not always that integrity means I am wrong, right? It's not. Then I'll come that way. Respect, the persons I've already told. Compassion. So that means yes, somebody is giving a comments on these things. You may not like it or not like it or not like it, but still you have to compassion of this. Then professionalism. That means it has to be in a professional manner. And then courtesy. So researcher has to be a courtesy. Yes, you have given a comments on this, so it should not be an aggressive kind of thing. Yes, these comments can be done this way, this way. That has to be, whatever your comments, that has to be scientifically proved. That is the courtesy. But scientifically proved, you have to, whatever the researchers has to tell, they have to do the scientifically proving of this. And then sensitivity of the situation. You have to see that what is the sensitivity of the particular area. Then sponsors' responsibility. You know that most of the scientific research, the big research is all are sponsored, because a research scholar from his own pocket cannot do a research of very big things. So he can do it very kind of small kind of things. So the sponsor's responsibility. So whenever you are sponsored, sometimes we find that sponsors are giving us a paid things. That means if I tell you that yes, cigarette smoking is good, somebody will say, because if somebody gives a sponsor money, okay, you do the research and tell that what are the benefits of the cigarette or whatever the other things. So those kind of sponsored research, so that kind of things you have to think of what the sponsor's responsibilities. Select a qualified researcher. When the sponsor, that means the sponsor also should be a very good organization, so they should be the qualified researcher. Ensure appropriate review, approval and supervision by ethical committee. When a sponsor selects a research or ensures the appropriate review, he should go for a review and approval and supervision by ethics committee. By the ethics and ensure appropriate ethical, regulatory and legal ensure the appropriate review, approval and supervision by the ethical committee. So that means he should be when the research sponsor's responsibility. That means very good sponsor like Department of Science and Technology or any government organization who are real good sponsor, they will see that yes, appropriate review. They have a good review process, and then they approve it by that ethical committee. So that is the way. Then provide policies and procedures, and then monitor the research, and then they will provide the policies and procedures for how can it be done, and then they do the monitoring the research. Now sponsors responsibility in the international research. So when there are research from the international body, there are research funding from the international body. So how this research funding should come from where? So if we are applying for the foreign research funding agency, so comply with the local ethical and regulatory and legal requirement. What is the local ethical means? See, if I am giving a funding from the foreign countries and all, and then I should not do any research from our anything wrong to the India or something of these things, or any country, or my local ethic local. So that means if I have, even I am paid, I should comply with the local ethical things and the regulatory and legal requirements. If somebody asks me to do anything bad with the India or some other country, I cannot do that one because that's a comply with the local ethical. And whatever ethics of this, they ensure the local relevance of the research while involving local partners in the developmental stage. So local relevance. So that means whenever you do a research, so you have to go the local relevance of the research while involving local partners. You have to include all the local partners in the in every developmental stages. So and then we have to promote the research integrity. So that promote research integrity is most important. That's how we integration we should do it. Then ethics committees, research supervision. Now the ethical committee, once you submit a research proposal, then it goes to the research ethical committee. Then the research supervision, what they do, required by ethical guidelines, they will go by protocol guidelines. Then the names of the committee vary from very low locations. Then primary purpose is to protect human research participants. So that's the ethical committee's first in this research supervision, that's protect the human research participants. Then ethics committee membership is a qualified area of expertise aligned with the type of research. What the ethical committee explains? Local community responsibilities, clergy or community leaders, forward study of the participants. Then there are ethical committee membership in diverse field. There are different kind of sex people, different kind of age, different kind of cultural backgrounds. Then is this area of expertise aligned to the type of research. So ethical committee membership, they see that whether you are doing, a person is applied for a particular research, whether he is really aligned to that particular research or there is not. That means they will see what kind of research earlier they have done it, what is their background, what kind of things, whether they will be really the money will go in a drain or in a brain. So that's they have to see it. Then local community representatives, the local community representatives, they will see that. Then the clergy or other community leaders, that if there is anything of by political or saint or anything on this, so they see that whether community it helps the community or not. Then formal study of the participants, then diverse sex, age and cultural background. Then community memberships, connection to the community. Initiate and provide feedback on research specific issues. Then voice concerns from the community and study the participants and take the initiative to understand the research and the community issue. So this kind of, when you think of the community, you have to think of all this, their feedback, their voice, their task initiatives, all these things researchers has to do it. Then community participations are the advisor partnerships, whether it is their advisory or their partners or their consultants or their collaborators. So we have to see that if the community participation research, who are the Are they advisors or partners? Which kind of things they have to be mixing these. Then who are the stakeholders? Potentially there are many different people and organizations who will be affected by the research in the community, have an involvement in what happens to be their community. See, if after the research any virus, antivirus comes in this of the coronavirus. So, excuse me. And then what happens to the community? Because it will, this vaccine, whether it will affect for every community or what kind of mutation this virus will do. So all this is, if it's not affected in the community or to the human being, will not know that what is the result of this. So all these peoples and organizations are called stakeholders. So two types of stakeholders. One is that direct stakeholders and then indirect stakeholders. The direct stakeholders are who are directly affected and interested in the outcome of the research. That means who are the funding agency, they will say that directly, yes, I have invested of this one, and then women in pollution clinics, actual, and then direct stakeholders also, the persons who say human being or animal, whomever it is affected, whether they are directly affected, what is it really, this drug is giving the poisons to the human, will help them or not. So that is the direct benefit is very, very important, whether it's really clinical trial should be given to the drug user or not. The indirect benefit, the people or organizations that are interested in the outcomes but are not directly affected. There are a lot of people who are affected, information, say their family members or subsequent users, NGOs providing services, politicians, religion, institutions, government, researcher. So all these are indirect. There are any research output, it goes to the indirect benefits. And so how its indirect benefit will go or not, that's the enormous number. Then responsibilities of the ethical committee member, inform research team, local issues and concerns that might affect the research, advise research team on the development and implementation of the requirement and retention plans and other study documents, review and advise the protocol team and site staff on the development of the informed consent process to improve the informed decision making, ensuring the participants' rights are considered. What is the participants' rights? Participants' rights are information, access, choice, safety, privacy, respect, referrals or follow-up care. So any of the participants' rights, this information means whether he is getting that, I am getting the right information or not. Then access, I have access of that particular right to information or not. That is the most important. Then whether choice, whether I have a choice to particular information or not. Then the safety, privacy, respect, the referrals, follow-up care. The community participation is a component of the larger network ethics agenda. Community partnership must occur at all levels on the research process. So any of the community, that's community means any kind of things of community. We know that all of you know community. So any kind of research, it affects the community. Say whatever, it can be a LIS community, it can be a scientific community, it can be a humanities community, it is a full community. That is a community, or there can be a larger community. So all this research is always in a community, and that community, how much it is networked, that is the most important, and that is the ethical agenda. Then community partnership must occur at all levels of the research process. So if the community is not participant of this research process, then that will not be accepted. That will not be accepted. Say why the people are telling that the research, any virus, antivirus takes 18 to 24 months. Because there is a different stages of the process, and this process experimental is, and the community is involved. The animal community, family community, all community. So that is why it's a must partnership. So community processes are key to ethical conduct of research. So community participation is ethics in action. So that means when it comes to ethics, ethics in action is the community participation. So now we'll start coming to the integrity. See, integrity, if we think about the research and integrity, so that's really we think that, oh, I am doing a research, whether I am a good person. So why do I worry about my research and ethics? Say some people may think, yes, I am a very good person, I am very honest and all, so why should I think about the research ethics? So I do, whatever I do, I will be doing it honestly. But it's true that we can't do much about the bad person who is determined to do evil things. We don't know. Can't do much about the bad person who is determined to do evil things. However, research ethics is not just or even mostly about bad people doing bad things. Research ethics is not that all bad people are doing bad things. It is not the research ethics. Integrity person is. So it's also about the imperfect people doing imperfect things. So it's also about the imperfect people doing imperfect things for a variety of reasons. That means, what are the reasons? Socially acceptable practice will later deem wrong. So sometimes we think that socially acceptable it is this, but later we think that it deemed wrong, it's wrong. Then accident, it can be accidentally wrong. Then misdemeanor, level wrongs that we try to justify. Example, taking shortcuts. Sometimes we know, researcher process, we may step up the process. Say first step, there are in a process maybe 10 steps. So we thought, 4 steps we know, skip that 4 steps and then go do some shortcuts for saving the time. So missing something, especially with the new methods or technology. So missing something means now there are a lot of new methods of coming in research or new technologies applying. All kind of research, there is a different kind of new methods every regularly coming and the new technology is coming. So these kind of things is how much whether you are missing or not. So that is all not, we should always don't know. Then one can become involved in research ethics, violations through the wrong of others. Now, involved in research ethics, violations through the wrong of others. So this is a very, very important area. One can become involved in research ethics, violation through the wrongs of others. Say, if you have a research team, and in your research team, if somebody wanted to make you, yes, I am very good to show you and all, and then if he does the wrong things and collect up things and data and do faster and things you do not do. So that is why involved research ethics through wrong of others. Sometimes the right things to do it's not clear. Sometimes we do the right things, we do not know what is clear. Then self-deception and other psychological tendencies. We have self-deception and other psychological tendencies. Next, professional pressure. So why the ethical committee or integrity affect us? Because we think that publish or perish. So people think that, see, if we are not able to publish, we may not get promotion, we may not get the job, we may not get cash, cat, all these things. So all this, there is a pressure. So publish or perish. Then tenure or retaining a job. Sometimes there are a lot of foreign countries and even in India, there are jobs are in tenure post. So if you do the research for 5 years research and if you do this kind of this, and then only you will get retaining a job. So tenure and retaining a job. Then keeping up with peers. And you will find sometimes that, yes, we are doing research, 5 people have joined in a particular research team, and we find that other people have gone faster. So then we thought that, how should I keep up with this peer? Peer pressure is most important. So that's the people goes for the integrity. Then securing grants, because grants are also given according to our performance. So that means if you want to show that good performance and all, so that means integrity. There it comes, I can get a good grant if you can write this kind of things and all. Then being a first of a discovery, and then everybody is thinking that, yes, I will discover first. And then so that means we do first. Until either testing of everything and all the protocols using sometimes of this, I have a knowledge of this, I can do it. Those kind of things really a difficult kind of integrity. That integrity does not mean that we have done intentionally, but unintentionally. That is why integrity of the research, the protocol says. So all of these encourages shortcuts, misdemeanors or worse. These kind of things really sometimes make shortcuts and misdemeanors or worse. And I think if you go to the newspapers or in different sites, you will find these kind of things have been done when these kind of things when the people have affected on such kind of things. So that's kind of things we have to be very, very careful. Then what are the moral foundations of the research? Doing good for human, animal. Then what are the moral foundation of research? What is the moral foundation of research is? Doing good for humans, animals, planets, future generation, etc. via the pursuit of truth and knowledge. Then our duty to respect individuals, that's our first and foremost. Our possible duties to animals. We have a duty to respect the animals also. Because we are doing research on animals, that means we cannot kill animals like this. Think of that how much pain it should not get. So while doing research, we have to be very, very careful. It's not that it is a dog or it's a rat or this is a rabbit and we are doing research. Okay, rabbit, why you do it? It's not like that. We have to do it. This will be our possible duties to animals, our obligation to the society. Well, if we are doing this research for society, then various obligations derived from these foundations, they can be tension with one another. Then ethical guidelines for streaming of the research as the pursuit of the truth. The truth, the whole of truth, nothing but the truth. The truth means be honest about our research. The whole truth is omission of parts of research findings might constitute research misconduct or violate other moral norms. Nothing but the truth is also dishonest to puff up one's results by adding irrelevant or misleading information or overstating their significance. So these kind of things, you have to be very, very ethical guidelines, to be very, very careful. Then, so to whom we do owe the truth and why? The public for its funding support, individual research participants out of respect for their autonomy, colleagues, collaborators whose research may be based on our research, funding institutions from giving us resources, research institutions, universities, our employers for employment, resources because of their reputation can be affected by what we do. Clearly, many obligations of research stem from its nature as the pursuit of the truth of knowledge. Some areas of research ethics, research misconduct, we know that falsification, fabrication, plagiarism. I'll cover in the second part of my program. These collaboration issues, authorship, data ownership, management, peer review, conflict of interest of obligation, complicity and funding sources, animal subject research, human subject research. So research misconduct. We have found that there is a research misconduct. The National Science Foundation, they have clearly defined what is the research misconduct. The research misconduct means fabrication, falsification or plagiarism in proposing or performing research funded by National Science Foundation, reviewing research proposal submitted to the National Science Foundation or in reporting research results funded by National Science Foundation. Fabrication. Fabrication means making up of data or result and recording or reporting them. Falsification means manipulating of the research materials, equipment, process, changing or omitting data or results such as the research is not accurately representing the research record. Plagiarism, which means appropriate of another person's ideas, process that will come forward next one. Research misconduct does not include honest error or differences of opinion. So you have to understand that if you do honest error, if shows that yes, this is honestly I have done error, it's not my intentional, and all the differences of opinion, it's not a misconduct. You have to understand by the National Science Foundation. The example of research misconduct, what is the misconduct? We will find that there is image manipulation, data fabrication or false verification, data omission and suppression, plagiarism from the work of another, could also be ideas gleaned from the peer reviews, sabotage. See case 5, case 2 also give example. In the then the retraction of the watch.com. If we find that, if you go this, in a scientific research, if what is the punishment and all, that will come in the next slide. But what is in the scientific research, that's if your paper is being find that any image manipulation or anything is really scientific misconduct, even the paper is published, you have to retract that paper. And if you go to that is a site on the retract of the paper, you will find huge number of papers have been retracted. Maybe some papers maybe I might have published in 2006 and they have been retracted in 2020, 19, 2018. you will find that. So these kind of things are there. So authorship, intellectual property, rigorous the experiment is conducted. Good record keeping, accurate calculation. Then collaboration issues, authorship credit. So authorship credit, when you do the research, we should give a collaborator is lab chief. So you should give a really respect to the lab chief who is giving it. Then program director, then technician, then postdoctoral fellow. So all these are our authorship credit. So these people are in a collaboration with research, and we have to give the credit to everybody who have helped us for any kind of manner, or interpretation of data, any kind of things. Then undergraduate research assistants, glassware, washer, even the people in the research team, the people who clean their vessels and all, they have to be given, because even if you go to the scientific lab, say like person shooting in this, there are glasswares. If the glassware gets spoiled, it's cost maybe 10,000, 20,000, maybe 1 lakh. Those kind of things, they have to keep the machines of this. Even the crores of rupees cost of the machine. So if they are not keeping the upkeeping of the machine and these things, you will not get the proper result. So that's kind of employed, especially washing and sanitizing, sterilizing the glassware to meet the strict requirement in the experimental protocol. So there should be given due respect. Otherwise, if they give some kind of bacteria and all, so the result will come in a different way. Then animal caretaker, because people who are taking the animal, who are doing the animal research. Then departmental colleagues, they may be giving you, read your complete the draft or giving you feedback. To give the departmental colleague, the colleagues at your other university, if another university, if you share with other university, give the colleagues perception, and then you can get this information. Then collaboration issues, example, management of the access to the data. Who owns the data? And who can make use of this in the future? That is the most, management and access to the data. Can lab notes and materials be taken off-site? Whether the laboratory notebooks and all, people can take it to their home and then use it and give it to somebody. So what responsibilities do lab workers, student assistants have to be in documenting of the lab work? This is very important, very, very important for the research, especially in the scientific research. Then peer review. What do you do if you learn something from reviewing a manuscript that could help our own research? What can you do to protect your intellectual property during the review process? Can graduate students read manuscripts on behalf of their professors? So all this peer review, you have to know that. Then conflict of interest. A situation in which one experiences conflicting opinions from one person's personal interest and from one's professional obligations. Most direct example being paid to say something untrue. Indirect example, knowing that if you say something positive about a company that gave you a grant, you may be more likely to get a grant from them again in the future. This is your conflict of interest. If a company gives you grant and you say, yes, this product is the only product of this one using this show, then it's really whether you are doing ethical research or not, this conflict of interest. You have to be even you have to say to the company, yes, I am getting your grant, but I cannot do only of this. Then another indirect example, a funding agency may stipulate that they have a right to decide whether you can publish or findings or may delay the publication. Even the indirect examples there, sometimes the funding agency will tell, okay, no, you cannot publish now because they have to make the money first, and then they will do it, allow you to publish it or not, or they for your delay publication. So whether this kind of conflict of interest, then the researcher really always in a confusing stage. It's not always very easy to decide. It's not in a one stroke a person cannot decide. Then ghost writing and ghost management in the medical literature is rampant and raises these questions that at present is going on. Then having duties to two or more parties in the same time. For example, the duty to research and the duty to teach. So these are the conflicting. Not to mention the duty of one's family, friends and self. So we have also family conflict of interest of this conflicting. How to save the family and also do research and also the self, how to make the time balance. Then complicity, conflict of and funding. Then having duties to two or more parties at the same time can raise more issues beyond the scientific misconduct. can raise depending on one's field, research and funding sources, example, stem cell research, or dual use of biological agents, or weaponizable technology, DoD funding, etc. Then animal subject research, may we use animal in research? That you have to understand. What are the arguments of the for or against? There are animal activities, they are for on evil. Are there limits to how we might treat them? And if so, what are they? What justifies these limits? So quick lessons of the animal subjects are 3 R's: refine, reduce, replacement. Refining experiments to cause less pain and distress to the animals. Reducing the number of animals used if possible. Replacement, replace higher order animals with lower order ones. Human subject research. Now may we use human subject in research? Under what conditions? Number code. The first attempt to answer these questions with guidelines for the use of human subject research. Now conclusion. So thinking about the research ethics can't make you a good person. But study of research ethics can offer a map of the ethical issues so that you recognize them when you encounter them. It's not that you are very when ethical issues, sometimes we do not know what is the ethical issues and what are the problems behind it. So that is why we have to be very considerate of the ethical issues with making a good person. So it can't solve the problems you might have, but it is very helpful to have advanced warning of this where the pain is lying. It's not always that you will have a solution. So, but you know, if you are knowledge of this kind of things, so you will be very much alert of this warning of always you have a warning period of lies. It will also help you to recognize when you or someone of you are entering or in the middle of an ethically challenging situation so that you can avoid it or address it. Prophylactic ethics is a much better approach than crisis management. So first, when we are already born in a crisis, then you making the crisis management is not the ethical issues. Before the crisis comes, we should know that what crisis can come, then only we will be able to overcome it. So bottom line, you must actually think about the ethical components of what you do. Rules give very little guidance in tricky situations. Learning about research ethics can't motivate you to want to do the right things, but it will give you which to think about difficult situation in the future. So thank you to all and giving me this opportunity. I don't know, that's why that time is there. How much time we have? How much time we have now?
You can go for 10 minutes.
I think so.
You can either take the questions.
Oh, should I take the questions?
Okay. See, there are questions. People ask those questions.
Okay, I think now ये सुनील पढ़ा ये अनुप बजरा इंट्रोडक्शन पार्टी ये मुझे लगता है
इंट्रोडक्शन হবে নাকি শেষে
ये देखना दिए थे मेरे
হয় নাকি इंट्रोडक्शन শেষে কখন इंट्रोडक्शन না দেখলে ফোন করে इंट्रोडक्शनের জন্য ফোन করো
हां তাই তাই দিচ্ছে
ফোন দাও না শুনো শেষ হয়ে গেছে ফোন করছি
এই যে WhatsApp পাঠিয়ে রাখতে একটু বলেছে
আরে ফোনটা করো
permission only from the head of the institutions for conducting data, not from the respondents. It is a violation of the principle of the informed consent. So informed consent, we got permission only from the head of the institution for collecting data and not from the respondents. This is a violation of the principles of the informed consent. It's true. Now,
জিজ্ঞেস করবেন ওটা আমরা তো লাইভে আছি
হ্যাঁ।
আপনি লাইভ বন্ধ করে দেবো জিজ্ঞাসা করে নিন নাকি এখানে উত্তর দেবেন কোশ্চেন জিজ্ঞেস করবেন
হ্যাঁ সুজন বলো আমি কি করবো? কিছু কোশ্চেন করছো? আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে। ও কিছু কোশ্চেন পাঠিয়েছে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে সিলেক্ট করে সেই লিখে দিয়ে দিই। বলতে পারবো নাকি এটা কি আছে বলতে? এটা কি লিখেছি লিখে যাবে এটা হিন্দি সাইটে পাঠিয়েছি।
আমি তো বানিয়েছি কিন্তু আমার উত্তর দিয়ে তো
হ্যাঁ বলো হবে।
আচ্ছা জিজ্ঞেস করতে আমরা তো হেড অফ ইনস্টিটিউশনের কাছ থেকে কনসেন্ট নিই
হ্যাঁ
ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল লোকের থেকে তো কনসেন্ট নিই না
হ্যাঁ।
তাহলে সেটাকে কি ইনফর্ম কনসেন্ট বলা যায়?
Actually, yeah, I got a question from the Dr. Ramashwamy Kundasamy. Thank you, sir, for your questions. Yes, you have made a very good question of this. See, informed consent, it is true that we have to take the consent from our head of the department, no doubt of it. But when we do a research on a particular person or particular these things, if we are doing on a particular issue, so we should take the consent of his or not, no? Because if you are taking data from somebody or someone else and all, so we have to give their consent. Without their consent, if we using their data, it is not, I think it's not difficult. So that is also informed consent we can tell of this. Then Mohit Gautam, who is responsible for the research quality? Mohit Gautam, you have given us, Mohit, how are you Mohit? I hope you're fine. So who are responsible for the research quality? Oh, it is a very, you have asked $1 million of questions. Research quality means, it's depend upon the, I told you the entire research process. So in this research process itself, if the all component works well, then only the research quality comes. Then in a research, there's got a review process, the committee is there, all this, so all this process, if it goes in a very, very stringent manner, and then the way it goes, then yes, really we should get the research quality. Until unless we go goes all the protocol maintained, the research quality cannot come. Then Jogesh Kasbi, how to evaluate the research on a right way? See, research on a evaluate right way is that means, see, the research are different varieties of research, the different stages of research. What kind of research? So right way means that who are the targeted audience? If the targeted audience for whom this research is being done, if he or society is benefited, then only we can say that the research has gone on a right way. Say if I just give you a pandemic situation, if there is a coronavirus antibiotic has been made, then if it goes and is being cured, then you will see that the research has gone in the right way. So those kind of things. So what kind of research we are doing depend upon that. It goes the research on a right way. Then Kajuri Poddar. Good evening, ma'am. What is the research gap? Subrata Ghosh. Research gap. What is the research gap? Research gap means, see, if we that you can understand the research gap means, see, once we are doing a particular research, and then if we find that yes, we are bypassing some of the tips or some of the events or some of the things, that the result is giving a different kind of connotation or different kinds of results. So that gap has to be, we have to make that gap has to be things of this. Otherwise, we really will not able to do this gap things. Then what is the research gap? Then who is it? Sujan Shah. So important questions which showing on presentation. Arun Bijoli. So she has said, Arun Bijoli, sir, is in relation to research ethics what kind of responsibility is needed to a research center. Yeah, the research center, research institute, research center, they have a huge responsibility. Without their responsibility, you cannot do the research, because that is why they should have a good ethical committee, they should have a research board, there will be research process, they should have research team selection, scholar selection, all these things they have to do in proper way. If we do not do this research ethics that way, the research ethics committee cannot come. So that is the research centers has got a huge responsibility for doing this kind of research. Then Shambhukant was very nice to join the webinar program. उसके बाद then Sujan B. Chakravarti. Sir, do you think that there should be a paper on research basics in UG level? If yes, then how a flare of research can be developed among the UG students? Yeah, Mr. Chakravarti asked a very good questions. See, really, there should be a paper on research. Yeah. For there is a research methodology paper is already there. So that research methodology paper, everybody has to go for any other research scholar or the MPhil school, MPhil or PhD students. So that has to be there, and there should be always a paper on this. Research quality. Sure. Then question is Tanusri Rajgupta. Sir, what is the ghostwriting and ghost management? Ghostwriting and ghost management, that you know better than me. Yeah, Tanusri madam, you have taken ghostwriting means, say some people write in an anonymous way of kind of things. You will find in a WhatsApp group and all. Now people have to take a WhatsApp manager or what you call admin to be responsible, because today you make a news and then you cook that news in a different way. So those kind of things are there, and you really, and the people, the ghost writer and those things are always there in a webinar, in a WhatsApp area or in a technology area. The ghost kind of things making is very, very easy. I do not know, the people are there to make it of this. So you know them better than me. Then what is it? Then Tanusri madam ho gaya. Then Shuman Shah, thank you sir, nice program. Today, really, Shah indeed information sessions. Then Praveen Vidya, what is the current status of LIS research? Are you satisfied with this? Praveen Vidya, thank you sir for giving our very well what is current status of LIS research and what are you satisfied with this? Sir, the current status of the LIS research, if you go to the university portal and UGC portal, Influminate portal, they are giving you the list of the research papers and all. So you can go to this, and the university teachers are responsible for doing the good work for trying to do the research. So they are trying their level best to make the research more kind of things. So just see that they are doing it. It's not that happy or satisfied. See, if there is a satisfied, there is a complacent. So if we are not satisfied, then always we'll have a gist to learn, to do something. If we are always satisfied, then there is no use of doing the research. So research always give you the dissatisfaction. Yes, I have to do something else. Then only the research comes. Research is not that today we have done it and then one thing, big thing is done, and we think that, oh, today this has done, and then the end of that research. So no. So if it's not hunting you, then you will not able to do it. So that is the things. Then research. So thank you. Then was a Badal Kumar Thakur. Sir, what is the difference between the data falsification, fabrication in terms of plagiarism? Data falsification, fabrication, that I will discuss in the next session, maybe on Tuesday. So in that session, details I will go on this. Anything else?
What is sabotage in terms of research ethics? Ramaswamy
Kundasamy, one more good question is that what is the sabotage in terms of research ethics? Sabotage in the research ethics, sir, you know, see, if you have a research team in a lab and all, and then the reagent people are in scientific research, reagent people are using it, and then if you find that yes, he is doing this kind of research or peer pressure, they can do the sabotage. And you will find this sabotage is not as a new thing now. It is always there from the since long time in a different field, and that is why some people get Nobel, some people do not get Nobel and all. So this kind of sabotage is already there. You tell it as a sabotage or you tell it as a miscond of things, different kind of things. So that kind of things always there.
What is DOD funding?
Huh?
What is DOD funding?
Department of
What is the difference between research ethics and research integrity?
yeah, you said research ethics and research integrity.
Research ethics. What is research ethics? Monica Jain.
What is research ethics?
Can we tell the relationship between research ethics and integrity in parallel? Ashish Kumar.
Mr. Ashish Kumar, you have given a very good questions. Can we tell that the relationship between the research ethics, integrity and is parallel? Yes, research ethics and integrity means, see, when integrity comes, ethics and integrity are really interrelated. If we are doing the ethical things, then our integrity. If we have an integrity, then the ethical things automatically comes. So integrity first comes in our mind. If we have integrity, the ethics automatically come. And the ethics means, for ethics, what is now that there are some protocol of to be followed. That ethical committee must be this protocol, that protocol, whether we know or not. That's ethics. And integrity is one's own things, and integrity reflects to the ethics. So these are all interrelated, but both are required for any kind of research. Badal Kumar Thakur, sir, what is the difference between the data certification, verification, autonomous plagiarism? So already I told. Then Vishwanath Shah University, how to avoid and detect predatory journals. Oh, that I will cover in the Mr. Vishwanath Shah is very good questions. That I will cover in the next session. So that is in the next session. Acha, somebody asked, who has asked DOD? Somebody questioned the DOD funding, the Department of Defense.
Department of Defense, what is DOD funding?
Achha, someone has asked DOD funding means Department of Defense is funding. Any questions or anything? So we will come, we'll tribute to our Bengal petition. Thank you very much for your participation. And the next session on Tuesday, same time, I would first of all, Dr. Jaydeep Chandra has to finalize that program because he is very busy of this. Such very difficult kind of situation today we faced, and because it is a very sad news, and I am really feeling very bad of this. Still, the show goes on. It's really feeling bad. So it's thanks to BLA team and my technical team for helping me for trying to present my issues. There are some concerns of this is always in my mind because I have been working for last 25 years in research institute and working on this, and we faced all these kind of issues, and so that issues I just trying to share with you. And thank you very much for you people of sharing of this kind of information. We will keep in touch with you. Thank you.